Imagine waking up to the news that your country's soldiers have been ambushed, their lives cut short in a ruthless attack. The nation is in shock, anger boiling over. This was the reality for India on September 18, 2016, when a deadly assault on the URI army base left 19 soldiers dead. But what came next was unprecedented. A swift and decisive military operation that would change the rules of engagement. For the first time, the world would witness a new India, one that didn't just mourn but struck back with precision and resolve. This is the untold story of the URI surgical strike, a daring mission that redefined India's stance on terrorism and sent shockwaves across the globe. After gaining independence in 1947, India and Pakistan have been in a state of continuous conflict, primarily centered around the region of Kashmir. The two nations have fought several wars over this disputed territory, including the first Indo-Pakistani War in 1947-48, the second war in 1965, the Bangladesh Liberation War in 1971, and the Kargil War in 1999. Despite various efforts to resolve the conflict, tensions have persisted, making Kashmir a flashpoint for hostilities. Since the 1990s, there has been a significant rise in militants in Kashmir, fueled by a combination of local grievances and cross-border support. The region has witnessed numerous terrorist attacks, many attributed to groups operating from Pakistani. Some of the most notable incidents include the 2001 attack on the Indian Parliament, the 2008 Mumbai attack, which caused global outrage, and the 2016 Pathankot Air Force Station attack. These events have severely strained diplomatic relations between India and Pakistan. Leading up to the URI attack, there was an increase in infiltration attempts by militants across the line of control, with intelligence agencies warning of potential attacks. The URI sector, located near the LOC, holds a strategic military importance for India and has frequently been targeted by militant activities due to its proximity to the border and its role as forward force in the conflict-prone region. This area had become a focal point for security concerns, setting the stage for one of the deadliest attacks on the Indian armed forces in recent years. In the early hours of September 18, 2016, four heavily armed militants infiltrated the Indian Army Brigade headquarters in Uri, a town near the line of control in the Baramulla district of Jammu and Kashmir. The attackers, carrying AK-47 rifles, grenades, ammunition, managed to breach the base perimeter under the cover of the dark. Their primary target was temporary administrative area where soldiers were sleeping in tents and barracks, preparing for their deployment to forward. The militants launched their assault by throwing grenades into the tents, causing massive fires and explosions. This attack not only led to immediate casualties but also inflicted severe damage on the infrastructure of the camp. The use of incendiary ammunition was intended to cause maximum casualties. The attack resulted in the death of 19 soldiers, most of whom died due to intense fire in temporary shelters, where they were resting. In addition to the fatalities, several soldiers were injured in the assault. The ferocity of the precision of the attack underscored the militant level of training and preparation. A detailed timeline of the attack reveals that the militant infiltrated the base around 5:30 a.m. and the engagement with the Indian forces lasted for several hours. The Indian Army responded promptly and all four militants were neutralized by the end of the operation. But the incident left a significant impact due to high number of casualties. The attack sent shockwaves throughout India. With widespread national outrage, grief over the soldiers, public sentiment was strongly in favor of decisive and forceful response against the perpetrator. The incidents also sparked a debate on national security and the handling of cross-border terrorism. Indian government initial response was to condemn the attack and vow of hitting retaliation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and other high-ranking officials expressed their condolences to the family of the deceased soldiers and promised that those responsible would not go unpunished. This set the stage for a potential escalation in military diplomatic measures against Pakistan, whom India held responsible for harboring and supporting the attack. In the immediate aftermath of the attack, the Indian military was put on high alert, especially along the LOC, to prevent any further infiltration or attacks. Security was significantly tightened, with increased patrols and surveillance in vulnerable areas. High-level meetings were convened between defense officials, the Prime Minister, and security agencies to discuss and decide on a suitable course of action. These discussions included evaluating military options, potentially diplomatic responses, and enhancing security measures to prevent similar incidents in the future. This period marked a critical juncture in India-Pakistan relations as the Indian government weighed its response to the attack. The success of the surgical strike hinged on the meticulous intelligence gap, which involved coordinated effort by Indian intelligence agencies, including the Research and Analysis Wing and the Military Intelligence. These agencies worked to identify and monitor terrorist launch pads along the line of control in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, which were being used to facilitate the infiltration of the military into India. High-tech surveillance tools played a crucial role in the unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, and satellite imagery were employed to obtain precise and real-time visuals of the target areas. Additionally, human intelligence sources on the ground provided vital information about the presence, strength, and activities of the militant at the launch pads. This comprehensive intelligence gathering ensured that the Indian Army had accurate information about the target, their defense, and the surrounding terrain. The decision to carry out a surgical strike was made after a series of high-level meetings involving key figures such as Prime Minister, Defense Minister, National Security Advisor, and military chiefs. These discussions focused on evaluating various options for responding to URI attack. The choice of surgical strike was strategic, aiming to deliver a calibrated and covert response that would send a strong message without escalating into a full-scale war. This option was considered appropriate to neutralize the immediate threat posed by terrorist launch pads, while maintaining the element of surprise and minimizing the risk to civilian population. The execution of surgical strike required the selection of elite units capable of operating in hostile environments. The Indian Army's para-special forces, known for their expertise in special operations, were chosen for this mission. These units underwent intensive training to prepare for the operation, which included rigorous exercises in terrain navigation, stealth tactics, and high-altitude combat. The training phase involved simulations of exact conditions they would face during the operation, including rehearsals of the raid in the terrain that closely resembled the target areas. The soldiers were equipped with specialized gears and weapons suited for the missions required, ensuring they were prepared for the challenges they would encounter, such as rugged terrain, harsh weather conditions, and the need for absolute secrecy. The surgical strike demanded meticulous logistical planning and coordination with various branches of the armed forces and intelligence agencies. Coordination with the Indian Air Force was crucial for providing aerial reconnaissance and real-time support during the mission. This included monitoring the operations and being on standby for emergency extraction if required. Detailed planning covered all aspects of the mission for the insertion of forces into the enemy territory to their safe extraction. This involved selecting insertion and extracting points that would minimize the risk of detection, establishing secure communications channels, and developing contingency plans for different scenarios that would arise during the operation. This level of preparation was vital to ensuring mission success and safety of the personnel involved. The operation began in the night of September 28-29, 2016, with the Indian Army's para-special forces units crossing line of control under the cover of dark. This was a highly risky phase, requiring absolute stealth and precision. The soldiers moved silently, adhering to strict radio silence to avoid detection by enemy forces. This insertion was carefully timed to exploit the natural cover of the night, reducing the likelihood of being spotted by Pakistani patrols or surveillance equipment. To navigate the rugged terrain and bypass enemy outposts, the special forces used night vision devices and GPS navigation, allowing them to move swiftly and undetected. They traversed difficult terrain, including dense forests, steep inclines, which provided natural cover but also posed significant physical challenges. The soldiers were trained to adapt to these conditions, using their knowledge of the landscape to their advantage. Upon reaching the designated targets, Indian forces launched simultaneous strikes on multiple terrorist launch pads located across the line of control. The attacks were carefully coordinated to occur at nearly the same time, ensuring maximum impact and confusion among the enemy. The element of surprise was crucial, as it allowed the Indian soldiers to strike with precision before the militants could react. The assault small team used a combination of small arms, grenades, and explosives to neutralize the target swiftly. Their objective was to inflict maximum damage on the terrorist infrastructure. The strikes targeted structures used as launch pads, bunkers, and ammunition dumps, effectively crippling the militants' operational capabilities in the area. The operation was meticulously planned with a specific timeline of each phase. The special forces began crossing the LOC around midnight, moving stealthily towards their target. They reached the launch pad in early hours of the morning and initiated the assault around 2 a.m. The entire operation lasted approximately 4 hours, including the time taken to engage and neutralize the target and extract the forces safely. By the time the sun began to rise, the soldiers have completed their mission and were on their way back to Indian territory, having successfully carried out one of the most daring military operations in the Indian history. The mountainous landscape and high altitude made movements slow and physically demanding, while the unpredictable weather added another layer of difficulty. Despite these challenges, the operation was executed flawlessly, thanks to the thorough preparation and skill of the special forces. Evacuation was conducted with the same level of precision, ensuring that all soldiers, including those who were wounded, were brought back safe. The mission's success was a testament to the soldiers' training, discipline, and bravery. The surgical strikes resulted in significant casualties among the terrorists and their handlers. The estimated number of militants killed was between 35 and 50, although the exact figure were not confirmed. In addition to neutralizing these threats, the Indian forces deployed several pieces of terrorist infrastructure, including bunkers, launch pads, and weapons storage facilities. The destruction dealt a severe blow to the operational capabilities of the militants in the region, sending a strong message against the cross-border terrorism. The operation demonstrated India's ability to carry out precise, targeted strikes against terrorist threats without escalating into a border conflict, highlighting the nation's resolve, its sovereignty and security. The surgical strike marked a significant shift in India's military doctrine concerning cross-border terrorism. It demonstrated a move forward, a more proactive approach, emphasizing precision strikes and preemptive action to address terrorist threats. The shift aimed to enhance India's strategic posture by integrating surgical strikes as a tool for managing and neutralizing terrorist activities without engaging in a full-scale conflict. In response to the operation, there was a notable enhancement of border security and surveillance along the line of road. This included the deployment of advanced surveillance technologies, increased patrols, and better fortification of military posts to prevent further infiltration and attacks. The focus was on creating a more robust defensive posture to safeguard against future incursions and maintain operational readiness. The successful execution of the surgical strike bolstered India's global standing in the realm of counter-terrorism. It showcased India's capability to carry out precise and effective military operations against terrorist threats, gaining support and recognition from various countries. This enhanced India's reputation as a nation willing to take decisive action to protect its sovereignty and counter terrorism. The operation led to heightened international scrutiny of Pakistan's role in harboring and supporting terrorist groups. Many countries and international organizations voiced support for India's right, which contributed to Pakistan's increased diplomatic isolation. The isolation was reflected in diplomatic statements and pressure from the international community for Pakistan to take stronger measures against terrorism. The surgical strike generated a significant surge in national pride and support for the Indian military. This boost in national morale reinforced the public confidence in the military and government ability to handle security challenges effectively. The operation also provided substantial political leverage for the Indian government. It was portrayed as a testament to the government's commitment to national security and its ability to take concrete action in response to terrorism. The strategic move was leveraged by government to demonstrate decisive and garner support from the electorate, enhancing its political standing. On September 29, 2016, the Indian Army and the Ministry of External Affairs held an official press briefing to announce the success of the surgical strike. The key messages communicated were that it was a precise and limited military operation aimed at specifically neutralizing terrorist launch pads. The operation was framed as a response to the ongoing threat of cross-border terrorism and an effort to deter future attacks. The Indian government emphasized that the strike was not intended to escalate escalate into a border conflict but was a necessary action to ensure national security. The briefing underscored the operation's success in achieving its objective with minimal collateral damage, reinforcing India's commitment to protecting its border while maintaining the integrity of its military responses. Initially, Pakistan denied that the surgical strike had taken place, labeling the incident as a mere cross-border fight. Pakistani officials disputed the claims of surgical strike and characterized the event as an exaggeration of misrepresentation of routine military engagements. In response to the allegations and heightened tension, Pakistan issued a series of political military statements. The country increased its military vigilance along the line of control and accused India of attempting to create a pretext for further military action. Pakistan's leadership called for international attention to the issue and sought to highlight what they described as India's aggressive posture. The international community reaction to the surgical strike were mixed. Several countries and international leaders expressed support for India's right to self-defense against terrorism. They recognized the threat was posed by militant organizations in the region and acknowledged India's need to take necessary measures to secure its borders. At the same time, international organizations and some countries called for restraint on the both sides to avoid escalating the situation further. The United Nations and other global bodies urged India and Pakistan to engage in a dialogue and work towards de-escalating the tension. These calls for restraint were aimed at preventing the situation from spiraling into a larger conflict. The surgical strike underscored the importance of seamless coordination between military and intelligence agencies. In response, there was concentrated effort to improve the integration of intelligence gathering and operation planning. This includes strengthening collaboration among various intelligence agencies such as raw and military intelligence and enhancing the use of advanced technology for surveillance and reconnaissance. The success of the surgical strike also led to heightened state of readiness within Indian military. The doctrine of preemptive strikes gained prominence. Armed forces and intelligence agencies maintaining constant vigilance to address potential threats. This included regular reviews and updates to counter-terrorism strategies and protocols, ensuring preparedness for similar operations in the future. The surgical strike set a precedent for how India would respond to terrorist attacks with precision and effectiveness. It influenced subsequent military strategies and operations, emphasizing the value of targeted actions to achieve a specific objective without escalating into a border conflict. The operation demonstrated the effectiveness of special operation forces and precise strikes, shaping future tactical and strategic plans. The surgical strike captured significant public and media attention, becoming a symbol of military valor and strategic acumen. It inspired various films, books, and discussions that explored the details of the operation and its implications. The strike was portrayed as a testament to the courage and professionalism of the Indian Armed Forces, contributing to a broader narrative of national pride and resilience. This cultural impact helped to shape public perception of military strategy and counter-terrorism efforts, reinforcing the importance of decisive action in the face of threat. The URI surgical strike of September 28, 2016 represents a pivotal moment in India's military history. It was a bold and precise response to the cross-border terrorism that had long plagued the region. The strike demonstrated India's capability to conduct targeted operations against terrorist threats, reflecting a significant shift in military strategy and doctrine. The operation not only aimed to address immediate security threats but also sent a broader message about India's resolve to protect its sovereignty and combat terrorism effectively. The URI surgical strike underscores the complex balance between military actions and diplomatic efforts. While the strike was decisive military response, it also highlighted the need for continued diplomatic engagement to address the underlying issues of cross-border terrorism. Achieving lasting peace requires a multifaceted approach that combines strategic military actions with robust diplomatic initiatives aiming to resolve conflicts and build a stable relationship in the region. The challenges of the cross-border terrorism remains an ongoing concern, necessitating constant vigilance and strategic preparedness. The surgical strike was a significant step in addressing these threats, but it also serves as a reminder of a persistent nature of the security challenge. Continued efforts are essential to adapt to evolving threats, enhance intelligence and security measures, and maintain readiness for future operations if needed. The bravery and sacrifices of the soldiers involved in the surgical strike are a testament to their commitment to national security. Their courage and professionalism in executing the operation have earned them the highest respect and admiration. As we reflect on the impact of the surgical strike, it is crucial to continue working toward peace and stability in the region. While the military actions are sometimes necessary, the ultimate goal should be to foster an environment where such actions are no longer required. Efforts towards dialogue and cooperation and conflict resolution remain vital in achieving long-term stability and ensuring a secure future for all involved.